Me.
Welcome to another episode of More Than Dice. I'm Gonzo, which I have to be
I'm,
today.
I'm John.
I'm Kathy. Still.
And somebody came in burping like a mad, crazy person.
And yeah, that was me.
Coming in burping over the music.
I didn't know we were live.
We were live. The music was going, so in the middle of the music, there's this burp. So, welcome to episode... More like Miss Belchy. Welcome to episode 120.
120.
Today we are going to talk about virtual conventions. There's been a pop-up and kind of, I don't want to say a resurgence because of anything, but it's just, there's been people starting to do it. And so we figured it'd be something cool to talk about and kind of give props out to those people that are doing it because it can be a challenge to have a convention and do stuff like this. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to all of our sponsors. We want to thank Creature Caster, which Kathy, have you finished your model yet? Your Suzerain of
No.
Desire? You need to finish your Suzerain of Desire.
Yes, I do. That is a true statement.
True statement. Good job, Nora. Good job.
I want to thank Tectonic Crest Studios, Dan the Man. I tried calling him this week and he didn't answer. He just doesn't want to talk to me. He doesn't like me anymore. Nah, he's probably just super busy. Just like everybody else in these trying times. We also want to thank Muse on Minis, which Muse are for hosting all of our files and getting us out there to everybody. We appreciate it more than anything else. We also want to thank Metalhead Minis, which Lynn will be getting a new product of ours. And it's kind of a design that Mizzy and I did that we'll be selling for our Song of Ice and Fire friends. And am I missing anybody? Or did I get everybody already? Metalhead Minis, yeah, Muse, TikTok Crest Studios, Creature Cast. I got everybody. Sweet. Also, it is now May, and if you haven't done it and you're not part of it, there is an event group, May the Bust Be With You, and you paint a bust during the month of May. I will be painting this bust.
Wow, I'm ahead of the game.
Oh, you're not supposed to start until May, but I'm going to work on that sometime this week when I get a chance. But for a bit, I'm going to be working on my 3D print that I've been working on. So let's go ahead and go. We also have another show that we're going to do. We're going to do it a little bit later that John wants to talk about. And we'll probably see if we can get some cool stuff going on with that. So let's go with drink. Kathy, what you drinking?
Gin and tonic. What? I know, I was leaving you all in suspense.
In suspense for a gin and tonic. Ugh.
It was palpable.
Yeah. John, what are you drinking tonight?
I actually have orange juice mixed with the last of my 43 liqueur, which brings you to a question. How long should it take you to go through a gallon of orange juice?
Not long.
Okay. Just checking, because I bought it Friday.
Oh,
it's empty.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
There you go. Gonzo, what are you drinking?
I'm actually drinking water today. Yesterday I went out to, if you were on the pre-ramble, I went out and did some more crystal mining. And it was really, really hot. It actually got up to like 85 around here. And with no shade, the sun beating down, digging for crystals in a mine, an open pit mine, it gets pretty hot. And I'm just trying to make sure I get rehydrated enough. I've already drank a lot, but I'm going to make sure I take that extra precaution and drink more water. So, to everybody out there, everybody's working, everybody's doing something, everybody stay safe. Don't get in any trouble. Be nice to each other. Cheers.
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 H2O. Quarantine rules apply, John. The normal limit does not apply.
Okay.
To say.
There is no normal anymore.
Yeah.
Except that I bought it Friday on the way home, so really quarantine didn't affect it at all. Except I had to wear a mask while buying it. That's the only difference.
Well, there you go.
To be fair, it's not like my weekend is terribly much different. I just don't actually get to sit around on Saturday at Mission Barbecue with all my friends and eat. I get to see one or two of them while I get my food from Mission Barbecue, then come back home and eat it with Manion.
I actually communicated with my neighbor today. Which is the first time I've face-to-face communicated with anybody in quite some time. I was sitting out on my front step and she was walking her dog and she stood out on the sidewalk and we exchanged pleasantries. I waved at her husband who was doing some gardening over in their yard. That was part of my amazing Sunday.
There you go.
Hey, John, do you have a link to that product that you wanted to talk about for that Kickstarter?
I'm looking at you squinty-eyed because it's not like I sent it. Hold on, let me check here. At 7:01 p.m. today.
Yeah.
So I sent it like an hour ago.
Yeah. So I figured you still had it, but I wanted to make sure. John,
Yeah.
I guess the floor is yours. I wanted you to talk about this because this is something you're in charge of, and hopefully you can get this gentleman on and we get him on the podcast.
Oh, you're putting me in charge of something?
John's in charge.
Well,
You're the
yeah.
most adult of us.
I'm absolutely an adult. Some buddies of mine actually contacted me a while ago about a product they're putting out, and it just went live on Kickstarter. It is the Mobile Painting Studio by Studio X, and it's basically this giant, well, not even giant, this small thing to carry around brushes and paints. It's got wet palettes that you get to move around. It's got some tool trays. It's got a whole bunch of stuff, and it's very cool how it's set up. It's all there in the Kickstarter, but it basically holds your brushes upside down, so there's nothing, the tips aren't going to go and get messed up because the way the paint racks go is they keep the wet palette and stuff at the bottom. It doesn't move at all. In fact, they're pretty much stationary, and the brushes sort of hang down in between the two paint rack things, and then the tools are on top. It's a pretty cool little thing.
It is, yeah.
It's not even terribly expensive. It's about $100 for one of them, and it looks really cool for carrying your paints around for those people who like to go other places in hobby. Honestly, it's the kind of thing that when we get back at it, right now it's the most ironic project, your product. Like, let's get a new thing that lets you go elsewhere and paint, but we can't really go elsewhere. But when this all breaks, it'll be very useful for anyone who likes to go around and paint with their buddies or at the hobby
Or
store.
even if you want to take it with you to paint minis during lunch.
Yep. Or if you just like to keep your home stuff clean and you just put your stuff like right there, a couple minutes cleanup time, it's out of the way. If you got to share a table with somebody, or if you're worried about the devil's spawn, aka cats.
Oh, cats.
Okay. Yeah, cats.
Not the movie.
No, not the movie cats. The actual physical cats. Because I've heard they like to steal stuff and such.
Drink paint water, tip paint water over, tip water over onto your models that you just finished.
They like to fuck with you. Let's just be honest. They like to fuck with you.
It's a cat.
It's a cat. I mean, they're truly evil.
They're assholes.
Yeah, they might be cute and
We
cuddly.
love them. That's why they're cute. It's so that we don't kick them out.
And also, maybe you got kids. You need to paint out in a area where people use. Just clean it up real quick, get it out of the way. It might be good. Take a look at it. It's good. It's going for another 18 days or so. So 21st. So it looks like it'll be over.
Yeah, make sure you post a link of it.
I was just gonna do that.
Oh yeah, somebody post a link to that.
There you go. But yeah, give it a check out. We're gonna try and get the guy working on it to come on and talk about it too, because that would be kind of cool to get it directly from the man designing it. He says that his wife was sort of the inspiration for it because she hated his stuff all around, which is not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea. Yeah, see if we can get them. Maybe we can get them on before the Kickstarter ends.
Kids less for age, just as crazy as cats, but they're not evil. They just don't know any better. Cats know better.
Only sometimes they do.
No, then they're evil. I mean, I can't wait to hear what everyone says about teachers after this comes back in. They're going to be teachers are like going to be the new rock stars.
We never realized just how hard it was. Well,
Their kids were
because you're all a bunch of idiots.
I've already had quite a few of that. I had a couple of parents are like, whatever you want when we start back up, you get it. I don't care what it is.
A new car.
I'm like, how about a pay raise?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, right, Legionnaires.
Work on that for me.
I mean, heck, that's probably fair. Oh, the best thing I saw about that, Gonzo, was how, when this all came in, teachers were given almost no time to plan, and they just went with it. They got it working.
Yeah.
No input from the government or anything. In fact, the government generally only made things harder on you, and then you just keep going. Maybe let teachers do what they think needs to be done and sort of throttle back on all that government oversight shit, because I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah. We actually got just to get off a little bit off, we actually got a 24-hour notice to find out which all of our people have the ability to get on the internet and then go from there. And then get everything set up with Google Classroom. Luckily, I already had Google Classroom set up for myself, for my own class.
But you had to cancel a podcast to plan all that stuff out. That was very, very short notice.
Yeah, I did have to cancel. There was one time I had to cancel to get all of that stuff in and done because we had to get it all up and ready and running before, the kids were gone. Which is okay. I mean, that's kind of why I make the low bucks. But overall, I mean, we worked our butt off. So I am over here working on this. By the way, for the people that were wondering, I get a 3D print, and I'm cleaning it up. The big piece is going to need a little extra TLC to get it going, but I did 3D print off an entire fully functioning life-size helmet of Iron Man. I will have to do a reprint of one piece because the earpieces are not the right size, so I just got to up the size of them and then reprint them. I'm sorry.
Crap.
Sounds like you're playing with Legos.
I'm trying not to make too much.
Louder, but...
Yeah, I was trying not to make a loud noise. But I will take and have the face mask removable. So it's not one piece. So I can either, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it where it's actually folds up or whatever, like some people have done, where they fold it up, or if I just take it and just do magnetic and pop it on and off with a magnetic. But I definitely will not be gluing that together.
I think magnetic would be the easy way to go.
It probably will be. I just want to see how hard it is because someone's already made mods to possibly to get it where it's a mechanical lifting system, and they're 3D printing the lifting system. I just don't know how much and what and if it's worth it or not. So I'll have to wait and see. So I'm working on this. I'm actually cleaning up the supports on the major big helmet piece because there's a ridge line and I had to dig out the supports on that, which then eventually I'll have to sand this entire thing down because I have to sand the top of it because the top got really screwed up. And sand all the other parts. The top part I'm probably going to have to get my belt sander out just to make it a whole lot easier and quicker. And then refill it all in where I've messed it up. With
so did you ever paint your other mask?
No, I just got recently just got the files I need, as in sanding files and sandpaper to get that done,
Okay.
so I could file that down. That's one of my projects in the next month or so. I've got to find. I swear I thought I had green stuff, and I'm not talking the liquid green stuff. You know, the putty,
Right.
the two mixing stuff. I thought
Oh,
I
that
had that.
liquid stuff doesn't even exist for me.
I could never get it to work.
It's actually pretty good, but it was made. It was a good innovation that was made for a shitty reason.
Yeah. So
The reason was that the fine cast for GW was very pockmarked and not great, as mass-produced resin tends to be. And then they made that to fix it, and it did a pretty good job. I very much enjoyed it, but you really get to keep that stuff fresh.
Yeah.
It goes bad pretty quick, and it's not good for what Gonzo's using necessarily.
But I also have. I thought I have some. I just don't know where it's at. I have to go maybe look in the living room on one of my hobby area section that I have. And
So-
Also, if you're thinking about it,
fill in the
Gonzo,
gap, and fill the
look
gaps
at
on my
brown
driver.
stuff. Look at the brown stuff too.
Yeah. I've got like it's a
Oh,
it's a blue.
I love the brown stuff.
It's
the
a blue and white stuff.
Knead-A-Tight, brown and
Yeah,
white,
yeah.
brown and silver.
Yeah, the stuff that they like use to repair like fucking machines and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that stuff. And it's when it cures, it's more brittle, it's harder, but it's easier to sand and file. It's easier, you can carve into it, which you really can't do very well with green stuff. I absolutely love that Knead-A-Tight stuff.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I just
And
gotta
Wade
see where I've
says-
got my stuff.
Bondo spot putty works good on 3D prints,
Yeah.
he says.
It's worth looking at. Yeah, honestly, that's one of those things. As 3D printing gets more out there, people are going to start looking at the stuff that's better for gap filling and such with that.
Yes, Crimson Badger does make a primer for 3D
Yep.
printed stuff that will is supposed to sort of fill in the little striations that you get
Yep.
sometimes.
I've got to look into that too because I was going to see how that was. Because I got a couple of prints that I can test with it to see if it's worth it. But I also got my Dremel that I need to use on some of this stuff, and then I've got a sander I got to use for the top of the helmet, which I think I should be able to work and get done. And then, like I said, just fill in the gaps with Bondo or whatever that's going to work and stuff. But that should be something I had. I can't remember what I do with my clippers. I saw him in them here just not too long ago.
Gonzo's falling apart over there. You didn't know where anything is.
They
Yeah,
are
I'm
underneath
losing.
that thing that you set on top of them.
Nope, they're over here. Because the bottom piece, there's a bottom piece to this, and I have to glue it on, which I wasn't too happy about the way they have this for 3D printing, because they've got a bottom back piece that goes to the back of the helm that forms the full circle of where the earpieces are, which is cool, no problem. It's just I didn't like the way that I could have printed that all in one piece if I could have orientated it correctly, but it was taking way too long to do, so I was like, crap. Because it was either taking 4 hours to do it, or not 4 hours, 4 days to print it, or 2 days to print it, and I went with the 2-day print.
Well then.
I don't know if patience to wait that kind of shit. Like, no.
Bad thing is we actually had a bad thunderstorm come through in the middle of day one, and I was like, oh crap.
Have you got your uninterruptible power supply yet?
I just got that in this Friday,
Okay.
and so I've got it in. It's plugged up in
Man,
now.
You were that a while ago.
Yeah, it took almost an entire month to get that in. So, but I got to glue this together, which I'll glue tonight while we're doing the podcast, and then glue the chin on because that's going to be a stay-on piece, and then I'll Bondo and sand down the entire thing except for the mask. And then I have to reprint the earpieces that go into the side because they're actually smaller than what they were supposed to be. So I got to increase them up. And I looked on there, and they said to do it like 106%, and then it'll fit.
I
So,
don't know.
but that was
Hey,
kind of
Captain
cool thing.
Mizzy.
I don't know why Captain Mizzy is on here, because Captain Mizzy is not feeling good.
That doesn't mean she can't watch this and
Yeah,
participate in the chat.
She better be getting enough rest, or I'm going to kick her butt.
that won't help with the rest, really. Just saying.
That's like the opposite of rest.
Yeah.
Also, laughter is best medicine, so, you know.
Actually, I think medicine's the best medicine, but laughter's a good second.
Yeah,
Don't believe it.
I believe it.
damn scientists. But, so, I mean, we've been talking for about 23 minutes about other stuff, and we should really probably talk about what we were meant to talk about, which was something that came up. And we actually talked about it a little bit on the last podcast. We talked about how our chances of like Gen Con and all the other conventions were going to go. And then ReaperCon decided to go ahead and cancel. And ReaperCon is actually a pretty far out convention.
That's Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was actually a pretty decent amount away. And
Otakon canceled too, and it's the same weekend as Gen Con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
In the Baltimore area, right?
DC now, yeah.
Okay.
Long story on that, not important for the podcast.
My
But
t-shirt company that I used to work for always sent somebody out to work that show every year.
It's a good show, got a lot of people in there. We had canceled. They actually did the most interesting thing where literally they said, we're just taking your registrations for this year and applying to the next year. If that's not going to work for you, contact us. And I'm like, I like jobs are good, and that's a good way going.
yeah.
Sure.
But I was kind of surprised by the ReaperCon one. I don't blame them. No disrespect for them or anything, because it's still pretty far out. But they got to protect themselves and other people, and they thought that was best for them. But they are still doing a convention of sorts. They are doing a virtual convention. There's still going to be classes, which I'm guessing they're going to contact all the people that were going to be doing classes and see if they can do them by Skype or Zoom or whatever, like they would do on a Twitch stream. I don't know. Was Jim planning on doing any classes at Reaper?
We always have Fort Wapla at Reaper.
Uh-huh.
I can't say that fast 3 times.
Fort Whopper.
Fort Whopper,
Like
Fort
you.
Whopper, Fort Whopper.
So we do that every year, and that's just us sitting at a table, and Jim just does spot demonstrations.
Yeah.
Apparently, I can't English at all today, so.
So
Yeah, so people come by with their models, and he will, they'll ask for advice, tips, and he'll take a look, and he'll, tell them what they did right about it, and what things they might concentrate on to make it better, and people like that. And I sit at the other end of the table with other people and do things like run a spontaneous gummy bear painting contest.
You guys gonna have to do that online, virtual.
Oh yes, we are. You need your regulation Haribo sugar gummy bear.
Do you get bonuses if you paint one of the giant ones?
No. Why? Why would you get a bonus? The bigger they are, the easier they are to paint. I'm discovering that with this bust here. People are like, oh, the eyes are fantastic on that. And I'm like, they're huge.
They're huge.
I almost printed that bust out for you, by the way.
I wouldn't even mind painting it again. I'm having a lot of fun with this bust. It'd be cool to paint it in a different color scheme.
Yeah, because I saw that because it was on it's on Thingiverse, and I was like, oh, that'd be something. Cassie might like that. Oh, I got to print something John's out first. And then I was like, oh crap, I need to get all this stuff out. And so I was like, I'll have to print it later.
We need to find edible paint so we can paint gummy bears and then eat them.
Yes. that makes it even better. But yeah, last year we had, I think, 6 participants in our first annual Haribo Classic. And we were planning to do it again this year, so we will be doing it online.
Are you allowed
Jim
to poke the gummy bear in the butt with a toothpick for something to hold it with?
Yes.
Just asking.
There's really not many rules. It just has to be an actual gummy bear. It can't be like a 3D printed gummy bear. It can't be like it has to be the real one with sugar, not the non-sugar, the evil ones.
So Crimson 1919 asks, aren't Haribo gummy bears the ones that give you horrible, horrible diarrhea?
It's the non-sugar ones that do.
I'll be honest, Crimson, almost anything can give me horrible, horrible diarrhea or not. That's just the problem I have with my stomach. I could eat the most neutral thing, a cracker, saltine, boom, in the bathroom for half an hour. I like to eat the scariest taco lasagna you can buy at the local grocery store, and you're like, solid as a rock, no worries. So if I eat too many of them, they will definitely make me no bueno.
You're not allowed to use the sugarless ones. Oh, you're allowed to eat the sugarless ones. That seems horrifying, really.
Take paint better?
No, that's just my rule. It's arbitrary rule.
Just checking. I mean,
it makes no sense.
Or if they, do you get bonus points? You paint one of the gummy bears as a gummy bear, bouncing here and there and everywhere.
There's no
wild events that beyond compare.
I think somebody actually, people were singing that at the table while they were painting them. And somebody painted one like a Care Bear, and I think one of them was painted like one of the gummy bears. And there was a Deadpool one, and mine was terrible because I started like halfway through when everybody else had started. I just kind of decided, well, maybe I should paint one too. But I made the mistake of priming it. So apparently gummy bears are like Reaper bones. They don't need to be primed before you start painting them. And I discovered that if you prime it, that's one thing that Badger Steinelres does not do a good job covering.
Noted.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask them to work on their formulation for priming gummy bears because it needs to be done.
That's been noted as.
Spoiler for you, Kathy. Turns out most things don't need to be primed. My buddy Frank's painted army upon army with no primer because he's crazy like that.
I've heard people say that.
He's also the guy who, when he started playing Epic again, when Epic Armageddon came out, he cut jump packs off of little Space Marines to put them on his Chaplain, to put them on a base of Space Marines. And I'm like, dude, you need help. Because that's cool conversion, but that's like next level a little much. Converting your Chaplain with a jump pack in Epic scale. A little much.
I kind of miss Epic scale.
I actually do. I think contrary to Kathy, I actually think that smaller models like that are actually easier to paint because you only need to give the impression of the color or insignia or whatever thing you're doing, and people's brains will fill in the rest. And then they stop and really focus, like, oh wait, you didn't actually paint that thing. I just thought you did. I'm like, yep, sneaky tricks.
Yeah, the optical illusion is everything when you're painting small models, but just applying the base coats on this bust and the initial highlights was so quick. It just went so quick. I mean, if I'm just doing flat colors on every part, I mean, if my Space Marine is just blue and the trim is just gold, sure, that's easy. But if I'm doing the highlights and the darks and I'm blending or glazing or, trying to get this extra contrast and smooth transition and everything, then that's going to take some time. But with this bust, it turns out it actually takes less time to do that on this bigger surface. And I think that's why you see these people doing all these little fun, intricate looking freehand things. And that's what I intend to do with this one as well. I today was working on coming up with some designs, like the back of her quiver is going to have oak leaves on it. There's a little band around the collar of her shirt, and that's going to have flowers on it. And there's going to be a design on the front of her vest or whatever it is. And I want to put a tattoo on her face and maybe one on her shoulder. So yeah, there's a lot of room to be able to do stuff like that. Those fun little details that on smaller models, they're just too small. I mean, I could do stripes on the pants of that little Reaper one that I did, which is a 28 millimeter model, but I couldn't do anything very much more complex.
Fair enough. All right.
So the Hasbro competition will definitely be at virtual.
Haribo.
Virtual Fort Wapple. Haribo. Haribo, yeah.
I mean, are we having a Transformers painting competition? Because, I mean, I could jump in on that. I don't know if these guys can paint well, but I'll give some of these fuckers a shot. The shitty ones, not the good ones.
But ReaperCon is going back on topic again.
Topics are foozies.
We were talking about ReaperCon.
Yeah, but they're going to be doing it virtual, which they said they're going to be doing swag bags and all this other stuff, which is interesting because that means that they're, you've got a ticket. The swag bags are going to come, with a ticket, and they're going to mail the swag bags off to you, I'm guessing?
That's super awesome.
I mean, I think that would be kind of cool. I mean, I could actually attend ReaperCon this year.
I mean, if it's virtual, there'd be a lot of people attending doing lots of stuff.
Yeah. They're going to be setting some... I mean, there's not many classes I would take for the simple fact that, I have Kathy, and she's just the plethora of knowledge that I have all the time, and she's just awesome. I don't need any other teachers.
Based on the definition, say she is a font of knowledge, not a plethora.
Yeah,
I am not a plethora, no. But I have plenty of people that I like to learn from.
right.
There are streamers out there that I would love to watch. My friend Pascal was doing tattoos on a bust, and that's what gave me the idea of doing the tattoos on this one. I was like, that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I can do that. I know I can do this. I want to try this. And I am going to try this.
Yeah, I have a feeling that a lot of our Twitch streamers that people are used to are going to have quite a few classes. Right?
Yeah, I hope they do what Adepticant did and sort of try and organize it all so it's, so it's not just, oh, look, everyone's all at the same time.
Yeah.
That way you can sort of schedule better.
Well, they have plenty of time to plan it.
Yeah.
They do.
They have plenty of time that they've given themselves for this. So hopefully, they can figure it out. And Jim and I were talking about this just before the show, and he brought up a good point, which was, what about people who were going to teach classes at ReaperCon, but who don't have a webcam? They don't have the tools for streaming, like we do. And so what are they going to, are they just out of luck? They can't do their classes because they're not, able to stream online.
Savvy. Yeah.
I will hope that Reaper has an idea for that. Maybe they're going to be like, hey, do you guys just not want to do it? Do you want help setting it up? What have you? That's what I would do as a con runner. I would be like, let's see if I can help them do it. If they don't want to do it, obviously we'll work that out too. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do though. It's new ground, these two virtual conventions. There's actually been another one in between also, I think, that was set up from the ground up as a virtual convention. I'm hopeful to see what they do there. I know on the littler con side, John Con is probably going to be virtual this year. It's not really worth trying to schedule based on everything. So we'll have to see
Yeah,
how that plays.
he moved his to summer too. Anyway, didn't he?
Well, he delayed it to September tentatively, but looks like we may not even get September. Uh, when ReaperCon canceled, he's sort of like looking sketchy. So that's only full of people live, so we might just go to full virtual for that. And there's some play there. We can see what we can do with that.
And then you, Kathy, you mentioned another one. I can't remember. What was it? WonderCon?
Hold on.
Another convention.
Yeah, you mentioned another one when we were talking about this as our topic. What was the name of it?
Yeah, I thought it was Wonderfest,
Or Wonderfest.
but I'm looking at their website and it doesn't have it as being canceled. It has it as being in October.
Oh, in Louisville? Yeah, Louisville's still open for October. I have a client who has a convention in October in Louisville.
So,
And there's even late. This is even later than the one I'm looking at.
so this might not be the convention that I was thinking of. And WonderCon happened. Actually, that was probably canceled because that's usually about right around Easter weekend.
Yeah, this one is the WantaFest. That's going on right now, and it's only like a model thing. WantaFest is a online event on Facebook for online model contests. I saw that one. That was another one that they're doing, which is interesting because I know that recently some people were like, "Hey, can you still do the painting competition for XYZ?" And some of the people said no because certain people can take better pictures.
Yeah, that changes the whole thing.
Yeah, that changes up the whole dynamics for it. Because I mean, like Jim, and you have like a photo studio. You can see part of it behind you, and I'm just like, I couldn't take a good enough picture of my model to do anything. So I was like, I wonder how that's going to go. But that's up to them to decide and how they do it.
Yeah.
So
It definitely makes it a different contest, and different people are going to end up winning because, because again, picture taking becomes part of it, and that's a skill as well.
yeah,
That's even a technology thing. If you don't have a good enough, it's not like there's one camera that everyone has access to.
correct.
I take all my pictures of my minis with my phone.
Oh yeah, I have a friend on Facebook who is a professional photographer. He says, really, in most cases, your phone is all you need. My phone, I actually used to take my Hobby Streak photos with the tablet. The phone's got a better camera than the tablet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And mine's not even the latest greatest phone. So.
But yeah, it's good enough. I mean, I might break out my camera if I really want to take like some real close-up photos. I think that's where it really starts to shine better. But it is what it is.
I
but yeah,
think really is. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
As far as photographing your models, as long as you don't have a light source that's behind your model, you should be good. You want to have a light sources that are maybe a couple that are sort of in front of, to the sides, maybe not like right above. But as long as your light source is kind of in front, then you're good. Now, there's a lot of people who are like, but I want to have a white background. Well, now, if your light source is too bright, that white background can actually act as a light that's behind your model, and your model ends up being in silhouette. So you still want to have light in front of your model shining on it, even, with your white background. That's just a tip. That's just something I've learned.
Crimson 1919 brought up a good point, and this also comes to me on a good point of me setting up my camera to stream for, the podcast, and so people could see, the work I'm working on. And I was like, man, this looks like crap in person on my little screen on my computer, but when you look at it online, it's different. Taking pictures of your models and then looking at what everybody else does, and then you see them in person, it can be a whole different thing. Some people are very, very good at, I want to say disguising, but making the model look good or better when a picture is being taken.
You remember all those Privateer Press models that they put photos of, and the static photo would look fucking terrible, and then you go do the 3D, and you're like, oh, this model's actually really good.
Yeah.
It's just the photo's just trash.
Yeah.
I mean, not really. I mean, it was legitimately a thing.
Yeah.
Another thing, just another tip for using your phone to photograph is be sure absolutely to crop your picture. If you want the main focus on a specific model, you want to go into your photo gallery, which is my Android thing is a photo gallery. I don't know what iOS has. And you can crop that down and it will zoom in on the figure so people can see it better. So it's not like this tiny little thing in the middle of your original picture and nobody can tell what it is. So that's just another thing that cropper people will see you're not safe for work, weird stuff in the background.
There's been a lot of like people on news programs, and if you look at the background, they were not thinking about what was going on in the background. Like people not wearing pants on their thing, and you can see they're not wearing pants, or a guy in the shower when someone was doing their hairdressing stuff. They want to keep hairdressing. Yeah, think about that when you're taking a picture. I do it occasionally at work because someone will ask for a picture or something. In order for security, I got to make sure there's nothing
around
that would be a problem sending it there.
Beware the mirrors, Legionnaire says. Yes.
Beware the mirrors, but yeah, just beware what's in there. You take a picture, you put it on Facebook, and your boss sees like that bottle of whiskey that's like almost empty behind you was full in the picture before. You're like, oh shit.
Ignore the bottle behind you.
My response would be none of your fucking business, but that's not necessarily something you want to have to say at work.
Yeah.
Our boss doesn't understand, though. He listens to the podcast. Love you, John.
Hashtag not all bosses.
But now conventions like ReaperCon, I think, can kind of be built to do virtual, but like other conventions, really just can't. I mean, you can't. I wouldn't say you can't, but
they did a virtual GaryCon, which would have been the same weekend as Adepticon, and they were able to organize a bunch of different events and interviews with some of the people who would have been guests of honor, and they had different people who would do talks, artists who had work that would have been featured would do a little talk, a little seminar, whatever, which is also something that people can consider. It doesn't always have to be about like streaming your miniature painting or streaming your art or streaming obviously is what these people were doing, but
well, look at the big go ahead. Sorry.
There's different ways to think about it.
Yeah, and Adepticon, the big companies did their releases as streams during the Adepticon time frame, which was great. The big companies, like if GW wants to have a big, splash at, say, Gen Con's canceled, they can still have it. They can work it into that whatever virtual Gen Con thing comes up and work it out that same time. And if you wanted to talk to all your buddies during Gen Con, you can just get a chat. Like, I don't know why you can't just make a thing like, hey, everyone who's going to play in the 40K tournament, come to this, here's the come in link. Let's talk about 40K, talk about the state of 40K, talk what we like, what we don't like. You can get some of that that even gaming, and not the full gaming experience, some of that off your chest to have your mind engaged by it, even not being there.
Correct. You could do. I mean, you won't be able to do the game. It wouldn't be the same.
No,
but you could definitely get the social.
Yeah, you can get the social. You can talk about it. Boom. I was bringing this because I thought this was really cool in the meta, that kind of thing. You can break that down, and you could even, if you wanted to go absolutely crazy, you could arrange for people to be like, all right, you versus you talk through stuff. You could have a virtual online thing, and they'd be like, oh, I feel like your army would have beaten mine because you got this and this, or I think it's close, and they roll a die, whoever wins. There's some fun stuff that could happen there.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about the camaraderie.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about the rolling of the dice. Aside from the people who are just hell-bent for, I want the prize and I want to win.
Those people are kind of missing the entire point of it. I mean, that is one of the points. You're at a tournament. The main point is to win. Absolutely. But that's not the only thing. It is a thing. So, but there's a lot that can be done there, and I think we might need to start looking at that because there's no reason to think that this couldn't happen again in the future, and every convention should be just a tiny bit prepared for something like this. I guarantee you every convention through the end of the year is going, what do we do if ... And that should probably be going forward a planning session thing. What do we do if, Adepticant went off with small amount of planning and looks like it was a great fun time.
Yeah, I can't believe how, just a handful of people, and that wasn't even an official.
No, that was Lynn and a few people that just said, hey, let's do something to have fun.
They were very quick to organize this. They threw together a Discord server. They immediately went about making a schedule for all the streamers who signed up to do multi-streams and stuff. It was pretty amazing what they did. They did a great job. And then there were other things. There was some kind of Age of Sigmar event thing that wasn't tied to the Adepticant thing, but it was running that same weekend. And I'm not sure how they worked that, but there were definitely games somehow being played, and I'm not sure exactly how that worked.
Well, Gonzo and I have proven, and we had it on the cast, you can play certain card games even.
Oh, yeah.
Over the internet. You just need a camera pointing at your cards and all that.
Oh,
yeah. You can work it out. You could even competitively do that. You could have that over the internet if some people had to have some event go off. There's some potential there for stuff. I mean, there needs to be some innovation in it, but people are going to have to think about it. Like maybe you get because since Zoom seems to be the big deal right now, because Skype can't seem to get their shit together. Maybe Zoom offers short-term, convention things where you get so many lines, so many rooms to put in, because a free Zoom room only lasts about 45 minutes, if I remember correctly. After that, it automatically kicks you out, which is fine for some things, but some things need longer. And maybe they offer it like, here's a small amount of money, and you guys get, so many rooms for this period of time. There's a lot of potential there that a good innovative business could jump in and would help what we're doing or what we're trying to do. I mean, heck, if we get far enough and certain things cancel, might have to start looking at more online DMs and Roll20s just for people to get their fun in.
Yeah.
There's a ton, as I've recently discovered, since most of my Twitch watching seems to be miniature painters and other people playing D&D or participating in online D&D. There's a lot of people right now that are running role-playing games online using either Roll20 or using Fantasy Grounds.
And the funny thing is, here's the funny thing, if you trust your players, you don't even need that shit.
Yeah, well, that's how we are with my regular Monday night D&D group. Jim's like, you can you can use this dice bot that is in the Discord, or you can just roll dice if you're not comfortable with that. It doesn't matter. It's,
I don't trust DiceBot. DiceBot don't know random. DiceBot does not know random. I know random. Why dice know random? You know why? Is it frivolous? Oh yeah, best success ever. Is it the most important thing ever? No, fuck you, John. See? That's what it does. DiceBot doesn't know that. Sorry. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that can happen there, and we'll have to see what cancels and what they do with it. Like, Otacon's kind of unfortunate. There's not much they can do. They could do some of the video stuff, but that's harder to because my buddy Not Brunch Dave goes to Otakon every year, and I mean every year, and he loves the video editing stuff, the AMVs they make, and music videos. He especially loves the Iron Editor, where they have to make them in a short amount of time there. That one I don't think could go off because, I mean, I guess it could, but it might be hard. They might just have some of the other ones. But it's interesting to see what that community brings up. And I know with a lot of the bigger, and I hate to make this sound negative, the bigger, more corporate conventions probably aren't going to try and organize anything. They're going to cut their losses, not pay people they ain't got to pay, and just be like, we'll do it next year.
Well, that's the thing. All of these ones that are doing these online things, they're fan conventions. I mean, ReaperCon is I hesitate to say a big corporation kind of thing because it's a small business. It's not a huge company.
No.
And the people who work there it's like family. And the people who go there feel like it's an extended like family reunion. It's not a great big corporate faceless, thing. So, them doing an online convention, absolutely, because there's a huge fan base that's going to help make this work. Adepticon is a fan-run convention. It's not a corporation. And so there were people who were willing to come together and make something work for it. There's one where my very first convention I ever went to when I was 18 was MiniCon in Minnesota. And MiniCon is still going on Easter weekend every year, forever, really. But this year they had to cancel. And people got together and formed Consolation. And Consolation is still going on. And it's for all of the people who do all these little fan, sci-fi fantasy conventions. And they all get together in this group and hilarity ensues. And a lot of these people know each other from all kinds of different conventions. And they're doing a really good job with, making a convention virtual. There's lots of people who will post content and get other people to participate. Every time somebody posts something, there's like 800 comments because the whole community is participating in this discussion. So that's one where all these little fan-run conventions, and I'm talking about the ones that are somewhere between, like 500 attendees up to maybe 5,000 attendees. They're not huge conventions. They're not like Comic-Con, 60,000 people, Gen Con, 75,000 people, They're these little tiny ones run by us, people like us.
People like us.
Absolutely, and that's what's going to keep it going and keep us sane and getting our hobby on in this crazy temporary new world. So we'll look to see what they do when other cons cancel.
I'm really interested in the ReaperCon one because that's a major corporation doing it. It's not a mom and pop or like I said, your small.
No, it is a mom and pop.
Yeah,
Reaper is a small business.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like me, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, you're a sole proprietor. They would be a small business.
Yeah, a small business doing it, not just someone like me doing it. if you know what I'm saying. And I'm kind of curious there to see what they're going to be doing and how they're going to be doing it.
And they may not do anything for it because, I mean, they may not be able to do that officially.
Correct.
There may be clauses. There just may not have the people, the manpower to do that. But I mean, I'd be interested to see what people do. It's like we say with the when it comes to demoing games and running game stuff at your local store. If there's no one else to do it, it's got to be you. Then it's got to be you. I think that chin being attached is going to make it a problem, Gonzo.
Crimson goes, isn't every game minis company except Wizards of the Coast and Games Workshop basically a mom and pop? They really are. Yeah.
They really
I
are.
mean,
FFG.
They're owned by Asmodee North America, owned by Asmodee, which is the biggest game company that's not Hasbro. So, yeah. They're big.
But they're a bigger company. But and even there's those companies where you're still looking at not a ton of employees for a lot of those places, in that specific part of it. So it's even Games Workshop. If you look at their overall operations, big, but even right now they don't have a ton of people in the office.
Yeah, they're not huge. You can go and you can see how many stores they have. You can see how many employees they have on their website. They're not as big as some people think they are.
Yeah, they're just big in the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, WotC/Hasbro is huge, but I'm sure WotC division's probably not even that huge overall. It's not, like banks and banks of cubes and cubes of game designers sitting there hashing out stuff. I'm sure it's a handful. Gonzo's wearing his helmet. Can you get that on with your with the chin thing on now, Gonzo?
It's going to be a challenge because I'm going to have to warp it a bit on the outsides and just use a hairdryer is what it is.
I feel like the chin maybe should be magnetized too.
Too late.
You see it on
be popped apart. It's just very lightly glued.
In the movies, they have the one where his face comes off, his chin comes off, right? Magnets.
How do they work?
It's magic. Don't ask me. I'm not Mr. Wizard.
Oh, Kathy, I hurt you because you said Mr. Wizard. Everyone always goes to Bill Nye the Science Guy or something like that.
I love Bill Nye the Science Guy.
I also love Bill Nye the Science Guy. But let's get a little bit out for the OG Mr. Wizard.
Oh yeah, I remember Mr. Wizard. Mr. Wizard was the shit when I was a kid.
Absolutely.
Well, it's the media section.
Is it already? Damn, it is. Okay. No, the chin can pop off. I just lightly glued it in there, and it's easy to just pop off. But I'm going to have to, before we get started, it is a tight around the ear section, around this section. And I'm just going to take a hairdryer and warm it up and mold it out a bit. Warm it up, mold it up. Because it's probably...
Tape your ears down. Yeah.
Also, it doesn't help that I have a really big beard and a lot of fucking hair right now. A lot of fucking hair. Let's go.
I don't either. I have less hair than you.
Put my Warhammer back up.
I believe that's an Excalibur or a... doesn't matter.
John knows. John knows.
So
you're directly in my main geek corridor there. Watch out.
Got a scratchy beard. Didn't shave the bottom of my neck beard today. Bill Nye, Beakman's World. Oh man, there's another one.
So something I forgot to mention earlier, which is totally not media related, but I will mention it now anyways. I used a sable brush for 2 entire sessions this week.
What?
A sable brush.
What the hell? When did you
get know.
Rich?
I mean, I've had them. They've been sitting here, but every time I've tried to use one, I end up screwing things up. But on this great big, I say great big, but it's really only like, Well, this is the model right here. It's not that big, but you know, it's bigger than this other one that I just painted. So,
Can't see it. Hold it up higher. Oh, there you go. Ah,
oh, and now my stupid
camera's all
camera
messing up.
shrink. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah,
Yeah, I
this
almost, like I said, the elf one, I almost printed that.
I love it. This is a fun model.
Oh, so Captain Easy,
I
fun fact,
absolutely.
Gonzo's not allowed to go beardless, so he can't do this?
No, I'm not allowed to shave my beard ever again.
Really?
Is it too startling?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to have to see a picture
Oh
of
yeah.
that.
I'll send y'all a picture of me without a beard. It's no bueno.
So funny story. My dad, when I was a kid, didn't have a beard, but when I was, I don't know, a teenager, he started growing his beard out. Um, and then he had a beard, full beard, mustache, for I don't know, like 15 years, 20 years. I don't know. And then he shaved it off about maybe 10 years ago. I don't know why, but I still think he looks weird. I can't get used to it. It's been like 15 years.
And still,
I can't get used to it. Every time I see him, I'm like, "Oh my god. I get Who are you?"
I don't like shaving mine off because it shows off my second chin, unfortunately, but
Eh,
it does make the mask fit better. So, well, I have to wear that when I'm in public with other people. I'm going to have to be clean shaven. So,
yep. There's a lot of people I know who are, well, they're the healthcare workers and stuff, and they need their mask to fit right, and had to sacrifice the beard. I have one friend who drew his back on with a Sharpie, which just, I was dying. It was hilarious.
That's amazing.
that is pretty hilarious. All right, so apparently this week Gonzo does not have 47 bazillion things. And Kathy sounds like she's got one.
Yeah, I have one. Yeah. And what do you have?
One, technically.
I guess I could talk really slow and use big
That's
words.
not that bad, Gonzo. That's fine.
That's a little bit of stubble.
He's look a lot younger.
I don't want to.
What did you send us did you send us a picture?
I did.
Yeah, he sent a picture.
One of the pictures that I was told.
You just look a lot younger.
So,
that's a baby face right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. What are you talking about?
I only have like 3 to talk about, and I've only finished one of them. So this week was really busy for me. But I'm going to talk about media section about what I've been playing too. So we'll be going with that also.
I mean, I think I talked about all my playing in the preamble. I'll just do a little bit on it too.
Yeah, which I actually am tempted to download it because it sounds pretty fun.
As long as you're okay with being shitty at it for a while.
Oh, I don't have a problem being shitty at anything. That's the first time. That's the first rule of getting good at anything. Being shitty at first.
Yeah, it's got a decent tutorial too. I was not displeased with the tutorial. And there's plenty of content out there on YouTube. So just so everyone knows what we're talking about, who wasn't here for the preamble, we're talking about MechWarrior Online, which I just started playing and am not very good at. But it is fun, and it's a little bit of nostalgia. I'm still reading BattleTech novels and painting some BattleTech models, so go into that. It's a free online game. Who can go wrong, right? Like we said in the preamble, it's I think Legionnaires said it. It's sort of like World of Tanks or World of Warships for BattleTech. It's pretty fun. You want to hear more? Preamble. There's more. Gonzo, you want to hit us with something?
I did finish that game, the movie anime series, Special 7, Crime Investigation Unit or whatever.
Sure.
Finally got through it all. it was good. It was pretty decent. There wasn't any gratuitous, sexual overtones to a lot of stuff. The only annoying thing was the little kid that kept on the homunculus going, because I'm a ninja. I'm a ninja. I'm a ninja. And it was
You do torture yourself.
Remember, not target audience.
Well, it just kept. I was like, enough. It's the shtick of the character. Got it. Okay, but it wasn't bad. It was just like, okay, I got it. But overall, it was pretty good. I mean, had a good time with it. I recommend it. It's pretty short. There's an OVA that goes with it. It's like episode 0.5. Give it like a 1.5, maybe a 2, depending on how you're feeling about it. But it was worthy enough. It's on Funimation and it's for free. I don't know if they're gonna do a second season or not, but definitely was worth it. I had a good time. It was good binge watching. So thumbs up for me.
Awesome. Kathy?
So I have been watching Murders In, which is a French series, and each episode is completely different, and always there's some new detective that comes into whatever village in France that has this murder, and they have to. It's almost like a buddy cop thing. Like every episode is two different people they butt heads kind of at the beginning of the episode, and then they kind of sort of learn how to work together to solve this crime. But it seems like it's almost always in the most picturesque parts of France, in the Luberon, in somewhere in Brittany. I mean, it's just these beautiful places, these little, old towns with, stone buildings, and that lends it charm. But the episodes are really dynamic. I mean, like really fast paced, and they pack more into an hour and a half than some of these other shows that we've watched where they just kind of creep along and you're waiting for something to happen, but they're just sharing facial expressions and you're like, can we move it along?
They're trying to,
but this one,
failing.
yeah, this one is just like boom, boom, boom. There's always something happening, and so really fast paced, and the storylines are great, and we've really been enjoying it. We're on maybe the 5th episode. The series is on MHZ Choice, which is a streaming service that does international TV shows. And they have a bunch that are free right now, free to watch, because, of the craziness. And so we're taking advantage of that, and eventually we're going to subscribe, because there's a bunch of other shows on there that I like, and MHZ, the public TV station, went off the air. So the only place I can watch these now is if I subscribe to this app. So yeah. There's a few other ones on there that I intend to watch after we've watched this one.
Cool. Is it sort of like a British thing where there's just so many episodes in a season, whatever number they decide?
Yeah, I think it's more like that. But this one has a whole bunch. I was looking at the wiki for it. It's got, I guess season one is like 5 or 6 episodes, and so is season 2, and then season 3 and season 4 have like a few more episodes in those. So there's like 4 seasons, I guess.
I like that when they just decide, like, it's going to be as long as it needs to be. We're not going to decide.
Oh, I wish.
Like, go ahead.
I so wish American shows were like that. We've talked about that on multiple occasions. Like, could we just have something with a beginning, a middle, and an end?
Well, Discovery kind of did that because the first season's like 16 episodes or something. The second one's like 15 or something like that, or whatever it is, or like six. They're not 20 plus episodes. They decided they didn't have enough content for that, so they sort of cut out, filler. And I like the way they split the filler up between other episodes. So I think that's a good new way of doing it. The Expanse when they're making Amazon Prime is whatever number of episodes it needs to be, 8 or 10 or whatever. Altered Carbon. So they're getting there. It's just you're never going to convince the big broadcasting companies to do it that way because we've done it this way for forever. That's the way it should be. America. Sorry. They may not be quite.
It's people like this, so we're gonna keep making it until it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you can make a series. Like, hey, you could make a half series. You could go like this one needs 10 episodes, this one needs 12. We'll air this one, then it'll go off. We'll air this one. I mean, shit. Why not? That's what sci-fi used to do back in the beginning. They did Battlestar Galactica, and then in the same time slot, if they were done with all the Battlestar Galactica episodes, they'd run Buck Rogers. Like, hey, this is a great idea.
Yeah, I just want series that have endings.
Yes. Can't all be open-ended. I like soft endings. Like, you could stop the series here and be perfect. If you continue it, it would also be cool.
I liked the ending of Lucifer.
Oh, don't say anything. Some people are still watching it, and I haven't seen the end of it yet.
I won't talk about it, but I liked how they did it.
Good. I originally, because we actually talked about that this week, because it's one of the things we were talking about, Mizzy and I and Erica, that we were talking about Lucifer, and they had Lucifer come in, and they're going to be doing season 5 with Lucifer, and I'm like, well, I stopped watching after season 1 because I knew Fox was going to cancel it.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Which kind of irked the crap out of me because I was like, oh, this is a really cool, season. And then all of a sudden watched it and I was like, okay, yeah, it's going to get canceled in a season or two. Oh, I guess Mizzy has finished it. But, I mean, I was like, I'm not going to watch it because I know it's going to get canceled, but it's coming up. And then we got season 5 coming. And I'm like, okay, I'll go back and watch it now because it was good when I watched it originally.
Totally worth it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest one on binging things, but I do like watching seasons or series that are done not like waiting for episodes to come out. That way I can just be like at my own speed. If I get there a day that I'm like, hey, I'm not going into work tomorrow, I can watch 3 episodes, then go to sleep, then wake up and watch more episodes. I want to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Even if I don't generally go all in like that, I like to pace myself.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see because, I mean, because this also comes up to one of the things I'll jump in with one before you get John. Because we were talking about the Netflix and we were doing, and so Mizzy says Mark in the history books, she's watched something and finished it before I have, which is pretty common between us. Great British Baking Show. It's on Netflix, season 1 through, 10.
Season 1 through eternity. I love that show.
The thing is after season 4, it's a new set of hosts, and a lot of people won't watch it now because the new hosts,
they're missing out.
They're not good. They're not good.
It's, you know what? It's like Doctor Who. Once your doctor leaves, it's it can be a challenge to get into the new doctor. But, once you get used to them, then we've enjoyed those as well. Do we like the earlier ones better? Yes. But these ones have their charm as well.
Yeah, this is the thing. I remember seeing the original one. I've only missed like one season with the original cast, and they're much better. They're much funnier. They are definitely, they have a click. They work together really well. This new group just kind of feels kind of piecemealed, and it doesn't. Their jokes aren't funny. They don't have an appeal. There's only one returning person. Now it seemed awkward to me at the beginning. Yes.
But it seemed to me like they started to kind of mesh in the further they go in.
Well, that crew's changing again, which really stinks. which
Oh,
doesn't
really?
mean if we're going to be getting another season or not. We're going to get a season 11 because I like the show. I like the baking part of it.
Yes.
Hosts be
Yeah.
damned. And
Yeah.
all the back drama behind that. I like the cooking part of it because they make some of the coolest shit that I would be like,
It's
home bakers are doing this? Hell yeah.
yeah, it's really more about the contestants.
Yes. And
They're
which it
the
should be.
they're the main characters.
Yeah. And I like it. I'm like, oh, I would have never have thought about that. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's something kind of neat. That's okay. Because I actually read about some of the stuff, the behind the scenes stuff, like before the contestants get there every morning, they use every one of their ovens and machines and stuff to make sure that it's working. So like every episode before they start baking, they bake a cake in their ovens before the contestants get to, just to make sure that it's working. And just
That makes sense.
and like they have to wear the same clothes in each episode, even though it's filmed in 2 different days, because of the producers require continuity.
Sure.
But I mean, I really like the baking part of the show. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool. Some of the people make up some really weird stuff. I'm not going to give it a rating because I would have to downgrade it because of the hosts. But as a baking show, it's zero space herpes. Host be damned. It's a great baking show. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Start on season 1 and just go all the way through. When they change up cast, just kind of blank that out of your mind and concentrate on the cooking.
Concentrate on the contestants. They are the main focus. Them and the ideas and all the fun stuff they come up with.
100%.
Gonzo, it sounds like you're one of those guys who got upset when they got rid of Bo and Luke and replaced them with Coy and Vance in the Dukes of Hazzard too.
I mean, that
I don't
upset
even
me.
remember that. I don't even remember
What do
that.
you mean that James Bond is no longer Sean Connery?
I mean, it's George Lazenby. You know George Lazenby, right? From that
I like the George.
nothing he's ever done before.
He has never done anything else either.
Nope.
Yeah, that was it. That was his one thing.
He lied his way into being James Bond. Some people say he didn't do a bad job. I haven't seen that particular James Bond.
I have. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, in any case, I watched last night with Banyan. We watched Romeo Must Die
Oh
because
man.
it is on Netflix for free, and I was spending time just looking for something to watch. And I'm like, oh crap, I haven't seen that in a while. Let's watch that. And it is a pretty okay movie. That's about all I'm going to give it. It's pretty okay. Cast is overall pretty strong. Most of the ones who aren't very strong get gacked pretty quick. The whole idea is that Jet Li is the policeman's son of a criminal who he had to go to jail so that his father and his brother could go get away and go to America. And his father promised him his brother would be okay. And then his brother gets killed, and he finds out in prison, and he breaks out of prison because he's Jet Li. No prison can hold him. He did have some good action scenes getting out. And he comes to America, and he's investigating his brother's death. And his investigation leads him to Aaliyah, who is playing the daughter of a black gangster, who is they're working together, but they sort of have a war. And, they hit it off. There's some actual chemistry there, unlike a lot of movies like this, where there's no chemistry, but they go with it anyways. And it's pretty amusing. It's got some unfortunate things. It's the first actual movie directed by this director, and he tries some weird thing where there's this kick and it shows a bad X-ray of it, like in the bone getting broken. I'm like, that's not. It's not a feature we needed in a movie. That's one of his big ones. And then they do some wire work for Jet Li that is unrealistic, thus completely takes you out of the movie every time it happens.
Yeah.
But it's only a couple times for each of those. Other than that, it's like Anthony Anderson's first big movie. He'd been in a couple things before it, but he gets a lot of screen time in this. It's one of DMX's first movies. He gets a fair amount of speaking roles, and he is DMX. Meaning He's not great.
Nope.
Delroy Lindo's in it. He's great, of course, because Delroy Lindo's great. Russell Wong's in it from a bunch of stuff, and he's very good. The rest of the cast, like I said, is pretty solid. Some of the fight scenes are really good. Some are okay. Overall, pretty solid movie. I give it 2 space herpes. I mean, it's fine. You'll watch it. It's probably the best of this group of 3 that I like to call them, which are Romeo Must Die, Exit Wounds, and Cradle to the Grave.
Oh my god.
And that is the order that they are good. Romeo Must Die is best. Exit Wounds, pretty on par, but not quite as good. Obviously, I think it has more potential than Exit Wounds, and then Cradle to the Grave is not good. Xander Willard says Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Donnie Yen. I've been thinking he's Donnie Yen. Sammo Hung, a great generation of martial artists. Absolutely, and that's not even all of them. Young Bao. There's a ton of excellent martial artists out there.
Yeah.
I would say, while this is a more coherent movie than Jackie Chan's starring vehicle introduction to the U.S., Rumble in the Bronx, I feel like Rumble in the Bronx is a much more fun and interesting movie because it doesn't have any of that bullshit. There's no breakbone camera, breakbone X-ray camera, and there's no shitty wire work because Jackie Chan doesn't do that shit. So there you go. Bandit says he's still looking for Exit Wounds and Cradle to the Grave. Why? You do not need to complete triple play. I saw Exit Wounds not that long ago. It's okay. But it's funny how you can never see all 3 of them on a free service at once. They just sort of rotate through them all.
Do you know what movie I can't find, speaking of Jackie Chan? Who Am I?
Yeah, that's weird. That would be...
And that was like my favorite one.
My favorite one is probably either Wheels on Meals or Dragons Forever. Big fan of Dragons Forever. Those are both
Wheels on Meals. I haven't seen that.
Wheels on Meals is very fun. It's him and Young Bao, and I think Sammo Hung's in it too. The 3 of them. They were all together, like in Project A, through a bunch of movies. They were all in Peking Opera together. They have very good chemistry together, all of them. It's just sort of fun, and the fight scene at the end of Meals on Wheels it's actually both the movies I like are the same enemy, and that's Benny the Jet Urquidez, who was a kickboxing champion. And they're just great fights at the end. I mean, they know how to take it at the end and be like, we're going to give you a treat at the end. And that's it. I mean, I like Rumble in the Bronx a lot, but it's not coherent so much. Like, yes, one thing leads to the next, but when you step back, you're like, what? How did we get here from where the fuck we started? I don't know how we followed this path here. When you go back and watch the movie, you're like, okay, that sort of did all go there, but the fuck? I just think it's too bad that Jackie Chan didn't get, I don't want to say a bigger break, but his stuff never quite hit as big as he was in Hong Kong. It's too bad because Jackie Chan's fucking awesome.
He is.
Even in his old age now doing stuff, he is awesome, but he can't still do the stuff he used to do because yikes. Yeah, yikes. Jet Li's another one, like I said, Jet Li, came to America later than Jackie Chan even. Romeo Must Die, I think, is his first starring vehicle. I think he was in Lethal Weapon 4 before this. Jackie Chan, of course, was in both of the Cannonball Run movies.
Oh, yeah.
They were fun. He was a fun part of them. But and Jet Li was a good villain in the worst Lethal Weapon movie. But that's sort of the thing, is you just don't get enough starring vehicles. It's like Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen pretty much just hit the U.S. with, I hate to say it, Rogue One, and he hasn't really had a starring vehicle here unless you were one of those people who would listen to what Quentin Tarantino suggested you watch and watch those, because he actually recommended a bunch of stuff that was sort of inspired him, and one of them was Iron Monkey. That was a super fun movie starring Donnie Yen. I love Donnie Yen. He's great. It's too bad he's not been in more movies in the U.S. So, Gonzo, you have something else to talk about? Remember?
I did watch another anime. I'm still in the process of watching it. It's called Darwin's Game. Darwin's Game is a show about. I thought it was going to be a darker anime when it first started off. What it is people are playing a game called Darwin's Game, and they get hooked into it. But it's about hunting and killing people in real life. But when you join the game, you get a special thing, and I hate that they call it sigils. It's supposed to be sigils, but they call it something else, sigils. You get a sigil, and you get a special power, and it's random for the person. And you go around, if you're playing the game, you go around and hunting another person. You get money, prestige, all this other stuff. And when you hunt them, you actually kill them. It's kind of a darker anime when it started off, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I don't mind this. Took itself seriously, got blood and guts, not spraying blood, but definitely, people getting shot and killed. And the first episode was good. I was like, okay, I'm all for this. Beginning of second episode, girl completely naked between the legs of the main character, and he wakes up with her there, and I'm like, oh god, please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't. And they don't. They don't go and turn it all into a sexual theme. There is a underlying romantic thing going on, but it's not overplayed and it's not horrible so far. I'm only about 4 or 5 episodes in, but it's been pretty decent. It's about a group of people that are all playing this game, and they eventually are forming a clan or guild, if you want to call it, trying to survive and watch each other's back and participate in this still. The main character got dragged into the game by accident, and he's trying to be the moral compass of this whole thing. So he really doesn't want to kill anybody, so he just starts recruiting people, and he's got, of course, the main character's got a superpower that everybody else they wish they had, type thing, like any typical anime. But so far it's been pretty decent. I'm happy to continue watching it until that it's done. So far it's a thumbs up. I'm not going to turn it off just yet. So wait for that. I probably should have a full review by the next podcast. And I'll have another review coming up, because I got halfway through Dark Phoenix.
Oh, cool. So, Gonzo, I'm thinking of watching a movie.
Okay.
And to let you know what movie, so this movie has got Melinda May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in it. It's got the guy who played Kovacs from the actual Kovacs, the actual Asian guy, in it. And it's got one of the guys who played, I think it was Jason in it. It's got one of the Agent Johnsons from Die Hard. I mean, it has got a star-studded cast. It's got an Australian pop star in it.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I mean, Jean-Claude Van Damme's in it.
Wait. Jean-Claude Van Damme now, or Jean-Claude in the very beginning?
I mean, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, the peak of his power.
Okay. What is it called?
Well, let me tell you one more actor in it. You in? You think you're into this movie? I think we should watch this movie.
I'm always up for torture.
We need to watch this together, separately together.
The last actor in this is Raul Julia.
What?
I am talking about Street Fighter.
Oh my god. I've seen Street Fighter. God, that sucked.
But when you look at it, you realize, holy shit, look at that cast. Yes. How is this movie bad?
Oh, yeah. There's always been a saying, if you want to watch a good Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, you watch the Mortal Kombat movies and the Street Fighter cartoons.
Well, so yeah, absolutely. Here's the funny thing is that between the Street Fighter movie and all, there's no street fighting in it. Not even one street fight. The Street Fighter animated movie is definitely better than
Yes.
Street Fighter live action.
Yes.
But I think the Street Fighter live action might be a little underrated.
Where can we watch it?
Nowhere, unfortunately. I'm looking for somewhere. I'll let you
Oh.
know. I know. I was looking. They're one of the podcast. Sorry, the only podcast you listen to did an episode on it. I'm like, they're going through the cast. I'm like, man, those people all went on to do great stuff. The fuck were they in this movie? It's like when they say the name. I can't pronounce the name of the woman who plays Melinda May. I'm like, wait, that's Melinda May. Oh shit, she's Chun Li in this. Like, it's got a cast.
Oh yeah, it just
You're like-
sucked balls.
I think it's not as bad as I think. Okay, the guy who's watched Cats and the Turkish Star Wars and Atlantic Rim and Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter and all the Transformers movies thinks it's not that bad. I want to put all my qualifications in there before you realize. I don't think it's that bad. I'm thinking probably it's thinking like a 3 space herpes. It's like, it's not an average action movie. It's a little worse than that. There's also got that inspiring speech in the middle of it. I think we need to find this somewhere. I'm gonna see if I can find it for us.
All right, but I'll go back to. I definitely will give. I am watching Dark Phoenix. I'm about halfway through it, and it's not good, but it's not horrible. Yeah, it's not good, but it's not horrible either. So far, so
It might be the only one to say it's not horrible. The ratings on that are terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to watch it, and I'm just like, okay, really? Okay, really?
Let's put it this way.
Really?
I'm considering trying to see if I can find Street Fighter cheap enough that I can buy us all DVD copies of it. But I will not pay to watch Dark Phoenix. That's just where I am, just so everyone knows. I'm okay with movies that were never aspiring to be anything more than a, fun action movie based off a video game,
Yeah.
loosely. And actually, I suggest anyone who's interested in hearing some of the story about that and some movie reviewers' takes on it, along with a music reviewer's take on it, because that's a funny guest crossover I never thought I'd have. You can check out Junk Food Cinema. I listen to them. They're great. They are John approved. And they do a lot of movie reviews, and mostly hidden gems like that. Hidden gems. Movies that may be underrated by the overall populace. How about that? Their first episode ever was Battle Beyond the Stars. And you know I was in. It was Battle Beyond the Stars.
Yeah.
So there you go. They're the reason I watch some of these crappy movies I watch.
So we'll definitely be finishing up Darwin's Game and Dark Phoenix. I do have some other things on my queue. I do need to catch up on Westworld, excuse me, because it's taken a turn for the different. And so I'll have a review on that this week, because I will be staying home all this week anyway. So
Lucky.
we'll have to see.
I'll give you guys a review of all the Star Wars stuff when I'm done all the Star Wars stuff. I'm still in season 1 of Clone Wars, so do not hold your breath.
Yeah, because the final season starts tomorrow.
The final season's I think there's 1 episode left. 2 days, something like that.
May 4th is when they're starting it. Because there's also a Mandalorian behind the scene coming up on May 4th also.
I don't need it behind the scenes. I'm going to go fucking watch it. Why do I need it behind the scenes? You cannot get me...
I think it's they wanted to add some more to it. So
yeah, but I'm watching all the Star Wars in order. If you guys want to hear it in order, that's on a different podcast. But after I'm all done, then I'll lay it all out for you. It'll be an epic, one of those epic media sections where I can challenge Gonzo.
For everybody else, guys, we're running a little late. I apologize. Don't forget, our new RPG is started up. We will start streaming it pretty soon. We do have episode 1 recorded for everybody to listen to. That'll be up sometime this week. Don't forget to watch Kathy painting Tuesday through Friday. She'll be working on, I think, the bus still and whatever else she comes up with. You know, Kathy, she'll get halfway through her project and go, ooh, squirrel, and, find something else to paint, which is all good and dandy. We appreciate it. It's always good and fun to watch her. You'll learn a lot, even if you are a pro painter. She's always fun. Other than that, guys, I think we're done.
I'm John.
I'm Kathy.
And I'll be Gonzo for once. Good night.
You're always Gonzo to me.
Oh, big heart.
I'm sometimes John.
I'm always John.
Rise of Design comes in right at the end. All right, we love you.
Bye.